Hello. So, if you would rather be doing this instead of this, then I have some tips for you today. That's right. Okay, so those of us that are regular crocheters totally get that sometimes we come up with issues like wrist problems that could cause us a lot of pain and make it so that crocheting is just out of the question. I've got some tips and suggestions for you, but first, I have to tell you, I am not a doctor. I am absolutely not a physical therapist, and I can't diagnose or suggest any sort of treatment for you. So, if you're struggling with wrist issues when you crochet, I do strongly recommend you go talk to a doctor and find out exactly what's going on. That's what I did, and I found out that I have what is called Quervain's Tenosynovitis. Yeah. Don't try and say that 3 times fast because it took me forever to kind of master how to actually say Crochet's Tenosynovitis. That almost sounds like Genovia, like Princess Diaries kind of. Yeah, anyway, I digress. So today we're going to talk about some physical therapy type things that I do in order to kind of keep that at bay for me. Now, these exercises may work whether you have the Crochet's Tenosynovitis, yes, that, or they might actually work for carpal tunnel or any sort of tendonitis that you get in the wrist area. Again, make sure that you consult a doctor first before you dive into these exercises. And then, if you've been cleared, give them a try. See how they work for you. But first, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a squishy ball. This is one of those kind of stress balls. I think you can get these at like dollar stores in the toy section. I'll link to one down for Amazon, but just check out. Heck, you might even have one lying around the house somewhere. I've probably got 3 or 4 of these just gathering. And then you're going to need like a hair tie, like a hair band, stretchy band. That these are the ones that are really great if you're making crochet scrunchies. So you might have something like this lying around. And it doesn't have to be like the fabric wrapped ones. You could use a regular rubber band. Just kind of make sure that it fits around your wrist and you're kind of doing the talking Muppet type hand thing there. And then the final thing you're going to need is a hand weight or something that weighs around 2 pounds. Now, this is just a small hand weight. Again, you can get these single ones. You can get them from Walmart. I'll link to one down on Amazon. But honestly, you could get like a soda or something that you can just wrap your hand around and get a decent grip that's not going to kind of roll out. Anything like that works too. So now that we've talked about the things that you're going to need, let's dive over and talk about how to do these exercises. I'm going to start with my 2 favorites, and that is using the hair tie first. So for this, all you have to do is stick your hands in there, kind of like a little sock puppet. And when you have your hands in your little sock puppet, you just use your thumb, try and focus on the thumb area and stretch it up. When you do this, you'll feel it in this area right in here. And we're just going to do 15 reps within 3 sets. So that's 15 times, take a break, and then do those 15 reps 3 times. Then we're going to do that about 2 or 3 times a day. The more you do it, the better that gets stretched out and strengthened up for sure. Okay, so there's a rep and there's a set. A set is the number of reps, and you might do multiple reps within a set, and then you're going to do multiple sets, and then you're going to do multiple of those throughout the day. Clear as mud? Right. Now, this is going to be a very similar exercise, only it's kind of the reverse. So instead of the thumb pulling out, the thumb is squishing in on the ball. And give that a good squeeze. You don't have to squeeze with the whole hands. Sometimes it's fun to do that, and it's good for your strengthening your fingers for sure for that crochet as well. But the primary exercise is pushing in on that ball with the thumb. That's what's going to kind of build up this area of the wrist that you need the extra love on. So we're doing that. All right, so that was 2 down. Number 3. This is an easy one. We're going to put our hand flat on the table and take our thumb, leaving all of your fingers and your hand flat, and we're going to stretch the thumb over to this point and reach it as far over without lifting the hand up as we can, and then stretching it back and try and touch. Now, it might take a while before you kind of build up and stretch this area out, but that's the idea, is touch this farthest point on the hand and then touch the table. And you're just stretching that out. Now, if you're doing a lot of these exercises right, you're going to feel it up in the arm or even sometimes up into the bicep because it's all connected. So pushing certain areas, you're going to feel it in the different spots, and that's all good stuff. And of course, I'm doing these left-handed because I am left-handed, but you certainly could do them on the right hand. Funny enough, the right hand doesn't feel nearly as tight as the left hand does. So it's a lot easier to do. Okay, next exercise. So this is number 4, I believe. So we're going to keep our hand in that position, but instead of just reaching the thumb over here, we're reaching it to meet the pinky, which is also coming up. Trying to keep this ring finger down. Now, might be a little harder said than done. My ring finger always wants to kind of come up. So just kind of practice that stretch a little bit. All right. Now, one of my favorites for number 5 is I'm going to twist here a little bit so that you can kind of see, which is going to make me a little cockeyed. But we're going to take and raise the hand off the table. And we're going to fold the thumb down with our fingers out and wide and extended. And then we're going to take our other hand and we're just going to push down. So that ends up kind of looking like that. You've got a nice kind of bend right there in the wrist, and you can kind of feel it. And you pull it down, you definitely feel the stretch in that area. And then you release and pull it down, and you release and you pull it down. Just like that. Now, alternatively, if you're not quite ready for that one, you can do a slightly modified version where you just take your pinky and set it there and stretch the thumb down. That's kind of a little bit of an easier stretch and still gets in that same area. So you're just kind of pulling your thumb down. All right. Now, let's grab that weight. And the first exercise we want to do this is our wrist flexion. And this is where we're going to lay it flat and we're just going to curl from the wrist only. We're not doing an arm raise. We're not doing a bicep curl. It's like a bicep curl only for your wrist. So you're just lifting the wrist off the table and curling it towards your body. Now you can see mine kind of twists a little bit. I try and keep it from twisting because I think that's probably better, but it's really hard. It wants to kind of curl in like this. So try and keep it straight and just curl it up. Then, once you've done that, you flip your wrist over, and this one is often easier if you kind of hang it off the edge here. And so I'm going to do this with my right hand to show you because it's easier to hang off. We're just doing the opposite, but we're lifting it backwards. Up, 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 just like that. All right. Easy peasy, right? These are good for strengthening all of that good stuff in there that you're using while you're crocheting. Now the next one is to kind of do your handshake. So you're going to twist your hand like this, and then dip it down and pull it back. Dip it down and pull it back. So everything is staying facing in towards your body. You don't want to round either way. You want it to stay sort of even faced in. And you'll feel that again, this is all working in this area. Just like that. And a couple of other exercises that you can do that were easier for me to kind of demonstrate this way. You can do your pushing and your pulling so that your wrist is being extended and compressed like that. And that will also help when you're doing those exercises. Now, don't forget, you also want to make sure that you're stretching your shoulders and your neck and everything else so that you stay nice and kind of relaxed as you're doing your crochet, especially if you're doing those long marathon kind of sessions. Let me know if any of these exercises are working for you or what your favorite exercises are. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much. And Farah, frog us out of here. Ribbit.